going to be reading you a couple of poems that I wrote a while ago. The first of these is sort of written in the same style as a young boy who died at Deep Kloof Reformatory. The idea being that some people, no matter how young they are, when they die, should still be remembered. It's called There Was a World. There was a world where a boy died, a world taken out of a storybook, a school made of rock hewn for a castle, with statues old and new of immense value, with bells of great tonnage ringing out their gunnage, with vistas of green trees and houses of a fortunate sea, and fields filled with rich earth, nurturing food, nurturing girths, and even whole buildings and houses dedicated to boys and girls who were torn out of the storybook, torn slowly over time, with each shard ripping at the void, until they fell on the floor outside the storybook. A boy in this world closes his book and goes to bed. He will not hear the tearing said. So without a care in his dark-haired head, his mind, his dreams wed. Suddenly the dreams stop dead. He wakes a bit too early, slightly clammy, his body no longer napping, no longer able to nap. He takes a turn, a dash to the nurse, hoping a return terse, but he takes a turn adverse. Not due to a slow hearse or an empty purse, just his illness became worse. The next morning, the nurse seems distracted, her life having been impacted by the boy. His teacher, who taught him acting, seems distressed, more distracted, more than distracted. He talked me the words which reenacted how the boy's suffering protracted. His lung collapsed, like he did perhaps after an arduous match had elapsed. His head had to be emptied. It was too filled with dreams, maybe. The dreams freed, maybe. His lung he followed, like after a mother a baby swallow, but this time there wouldn't be any dream to follow. Too many dreams stayed in his head, so it was back to bed for the now dark, hairless head. And the dreams stayed very happily wed. There was a world with a new bench or garden, statue or engraving, and a stone with a name, Cuchamanis. He was young, but he's still a memory. At least to me, at least in story. Thanks. Sorry, a bit depressing that one, but I think the sad things in the world are still things which we should try our damnedest to remember. So this is about a couple of things. First up, making things. People try their best to make things in a way that they feel are beautiful, but are isolated from their labor. In most instances, I feel like 90% of the things I physically make are, in some sense, subtly worthless. So I'm going to try and show you the process behind making a knife, forging, working at a blacksmith apprenticeship, and hopefully, maybe, let's see if you can be enfranchised to your own material. Hey, I read the Communist Manifesto. To craft. Fold edits into your metal. Thunder to blow form. Have the blade laid ere edit done. Mold my refrain clay. Paint them on blade. Fire them in scrutiny. Where praise is desire, the temperament of sanitary fire, or hatred's ire, or apathy's blight, may shatter the imperfect crystal there, piercing all near, and rendering it broken. If so, rebuild, reforge, refined Damascus there, layer on layer, and trace flaw and difference surpasses all. Meditate yourself across the blade. Let blood and cerulean and blue and black stand apart beside. Sing, my blade, sing. Error to sand, whetstone into water, into lamb skin, into oil, until the blades bevel to edge of a moonlight sheen. And have every eye see that it cuts true, ere any blade is struck. Chisel, whittle, little by little, intricately inlay little bits into your handle until nothing is amiss within the fit. Wield it, sing the air apart, have it wed your hand. Be a part of you and a part the air. Sheathe peace, flush to the blade's peace, and draw their true rest. Okay, now some of you might have watched Forged in Fire. You probably should. It's pretty dope. I'm going to be reading one more poem, and then I'll get out of the way of some slightly more intense people's poetry, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. The last poem I've got here for you is a poem which is part of a medley. It's about something which, for lack of a better word, is not feared enough. I think that people these days aren't technically aware of how close we are to the doomsday clock hitting midnight. It's worth looking into. Nukes seem like a thing from the 1980s, but they're still very much a problem. So I wrote a poem about the first man to ever detonate a nuclear weapon. I am handed a button, small, red, mushroomoid. Appropriate, I will later think. I turn to my peers, my boss, my friends, my losses for confirmation, goggles, and excitement. Clink. Tension. 1,000 moments pass in a breath. Will it crack the earth's crust, as David said? Will it burn the very atmosphere? Or perhaps it'll kill us all and we've completely miscalculated. Or nothing. $30 billion gone to nothing. There, on the horizon, I see it loosened, a teardrop filled with malice. Listen, falling. It's as though we've unleashed the sun. We've brought its unimaginable fury to Nevada. Oh, the earth shakes as if Mother Gaia herself were in pain. Look at what we've done. Light has broken earth. Fire wins over all other of the elements. We are buffeted, near buried within our bunker. There is jubilation, triumph. Yet, I feel an emptiness, as if I've touched something outside and within me. I've touched the covenant, and I am unclean, unworthy, nay, and untouchable. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And that's what I've got for you today. Enjoy yourselves. If you guys like to see any more, stick around. We've got a whole bunch of additional poets and musicians coming up. So if you just like open verse, go ahead, listen up. Cheers. I've been Stefan.